What is going on, NYY News TV fam? Is your host, Alex Guyevich-Prodich, with co-host Luka Guyevich-Prodich on the Twinbill podcast. Of course, brought to you by NYY News TV. Got a little bit of topics to talk about. We have a sponsor. We'll get to that very shortly. The MLBPA and the MLB had another meeting. Some stuff came out of that. Luka will obviously be the narrator of that. Also have Shohei Ohtani on the cover of MLB The Show 22. That's a minor topic, but we'll discuss it a little bit. We'll also talk about the recent Matt Olson rumors that were transpiring a little bit before the work stoppage. And then we'll also talk about future Hall of Fame ballots, who's on it, who should make it, who really shouldn't make it. With that being said, Luke, I'll throw it to you. You can just give your first thoughts and then just really go right into the subject matter.
Very interesting topics to talk about. A little more packed since the MLB and the MLBPA have met for like the third time in the last 2 weeks, I should say.
I would say that because I think they met twice last week and then once this week.
All right, so it's going to be pretty interesting, but I'm not delighted by the news and what came out of it. We'll get into that. Well, as Alex said, we'll also get into the Yankee news, which I'm not impressed about. And we'll also get into the Hall of Fame, which should be some interesting stuff. So if you want,
go right ahead.
So if you want me to take it away, the CBA meeting between the MLB players and the MLB Players Association and MLB on Tuesday afternoon led to no significant progress. This is almost ensuring a delay to spring training. Yay! Anyway, while pitchers and catchers are scheduled to report to some camps as early as Valentine's Day, the day after the Super Bowl, players and executives both anticipate the start of spring training will be postponed, sources said. How long will depend on the ramp-up of negotiations, which we've been locked out since December 2nd. So, to get through with it, the MLBPA's proposal Tuesday included a drop in its bonus pool request for pre-arbitration players from $105 million to $100 million. That obviously did not fly with the MLB. The union also reduced its ask for the number of players who would be awarded an additional year of service time, shortening their path to free agency via award voting and performance. All players who are top 5 in the Rookie of the Year voting, top 3 in reliever of the year, or make first or second team All-MLB would qualify alongside infielders who rank in the top 7 of WAR at their position and outfielders, starting pitchers, and relievers who are top 20. Previously, the union asked for those in the top 10 and 30, respectively. So there's that. So there's virtually no progress when it comes to the pool and the top 30 WAR stuff. So the sliver of progress, sources said, stemmed from the union saying it was open to the idea of rewarding teams that do not manipulate a top prospect's service with the draft picks. So tiny progress, right, Alex? Tiny progress.
It's not even important. I mean, we've talked about it before. It should be based on accolades, not whether you destroy your farm system or not. I mean, that's just where that stems from, and that's where they made little progress, right? You have the article in front of you?
Yep. So go ahead.
You know what? I'll let you go ahead since you're narrating.
So to continue, the average salary for players has dropped in 4 consecutive seasons, and players are seeking to reverse that in multiple areas. Now, the players did not make a proposal on the competitive balance tax, a key issue that now has not been addressed in all 4 sessions since the lockout began. The union last moved on its CBT threshold offer, which is CBT competitive balance tax, dropping it to $245 million. I think that means that might be the
luxury tax.
Quite possibly. The leagues may remain steadfast at $214 million, a minimal bump from the current $210 million, $4 million. That's a nice increase. And attached to that, raise more onerous repercussions for teams who payrolls exceed, including heavier taxes and stricter draft pick penalties. So there's that.
They exceed the luxury tax?
Or
if they will go under it?
If they exceed it, they will pay more.
Okay, that makes more
MLB
sense.
agreed to a slight bump in the proposed minimum salary for players. You ready for this? Bumping its offer from $600K to $615K. Such a joke. Well short of the $775,000 the union has sought. The league also withdrew a previous proposal that would have eliminated so-called Super Twos, currently a group of 22% of players with 2 to 3 years of experience who have the most service time and get an extra year of arbitration, and paid all players within that class for a pool. So that's pretty much that. In MLB's last offer a week ago, the league agreed to the union's proposal for a bonus pool. Obviously, I mentioned that. That has since dropped. As I said, the MLBPA has dropped their offer from what I just read. I think it was like 105 to 100 million, but the league is still stuck on 10 million, which I believe is ridiculous. The leagues can't blah 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 blah. MLB has told the MLBPA that free agency, revenue sharing, and changes to arbitration, the union wants it to start for all players after 2 years, then 3 are non-starters, proposing December 1st to drop the subjects from negotiations and focus on other issues. The union rejected the idea, and the final meeting before the lockout lasted 7 minutes, which we all know about. The leagues can't. Let me see. Sides waited 43 days before getting together again, and we will most likely experience a delay in spring training. Alex, your thoughts?
Oh, it's very disgusting. It's not surprising. It's very disgusting that the two sides won't really move the needle, and I really blame the MLB. That's the owners, okay? That's the owners right there. More than the players, but just overall, it's disgusting because players want to get back to baseball. The fans want to see baseball again. And the owners, I'm sure they want to get back to baseball. And I want to let you in on something. I was on Twitter earlier, and I was just, doing my usual Twitter thing. I was looking up prospects for the Senior Bowl, just scrolling through Twitter, right? And per a very reliable source from somebody, if you want to work in the MLB communications department, okay, you want to know how much the minimum wage is?
It's not per hour, it's per year, right?
Minimum wage, Luca. You were right on the first one.
15 per hour?
Luca, you want to try half of that? $8 per hour working for the communications department of most MLB teams.
You could work at McDonald's for 15.
I was about to say, you could work at McDonald's and Subway and Starbucks for more and get treated like shit. And that's disgusting.
You could work at Walmart. You could work at Costco. You could work anywhere else.
Let's have fun. Let's have fun, shall we? For the chat, as we keep going with this, I hope to be in the premiere chat. But for everybody in the chat, I want you to list as many places you can come up with that pay more than the average communications department of any MLB team. I listed $8 per hour. So everybody in chat, as they're watching, go ahead and list as many places you know, or you could guess, because it's probably right, as possible that pay more than $8 per hour. And there's this argument out there of, well, you have internships, and this is just overall. Well, you have this job at this many bucks per hour, and then you have your dream job at the same amount. So why not work for your dream job? That's not the case here. I don't know if I would rather, obviously it's a starting wage, but come on. MLB communications department is probably for guys like 18-year-olds and up, or 20-year-olds and up. Meanwhile, the guys at McDonald's, the guys at Burger King, Wendy's, Subway, Chick-fil-A, those guys and gals, of course, usually start at the ages of 14, 15, 16. That's when you could get your worker's permit and all that other bullshit. But they're not, they started 15 per hour and they're younger. So that's just the imbalance. I'm not going to go into this whole thing of companies and crap. I'm just basing it off the MLB. These people are working for minimum wage of $15 just to get a couple extra bucks on the side and start paying for books and all that shit. Meanwhile, you got people working for their lives, their literal lives, starting at $8 an hour. I mean, listen, obviously there's always the discussion about with the minor league players, the minimum salary, this, that, and the other thing. But nobody talks about the stadium workers. You brought that up a couple episodes ago. And then the communications department, that's $8 an hour.
It's a joke.
And then you think about the aspired broadcasters and the aspired people who have come out of communications departments, Michael Kay, Joe Buck, Jack Buck, trying to think of names here, Joe Davis. There's a lot of guys out there. And I'm thinking to myself, so to be like those guys, you have to start at $8 an hour. It's a joke. It is a literal joke. And the MLB is so stranglehold on money. And obviously, once again, there's obviously the other end of it where, okay, well, if they have to increase the pay and whatnot and whatever, they would have to increase the prices. But the prices are already big for a couple other MLB teams. Dodgers Stadium. Wasn't it one time when the Dodgers were pretty much they were pretty much at a capacity restraint during the first part of 2021? Weren't they super expensive in terms of seats, or am I thinking of another team?
You could be thinking of the Dodgers.
Yeah, because I could have swore it was that or something else. The Yankees stadium tickets were cheap. But when they were at like 25%, 10% capacity, I feel like those were in the 2000s. So the prices are already there in terms of rising. But just overall, the MLB, it's a joke. It's a joke. And that's not something the players can really affect unless they fight for it. But once again, how far is that going to go? These negotiations haven't freaking moved. As our buddy would say, they're more divided than Republicans and Democrats. But what are your thoughts over? I mean, just final thoughts overall, and then we'll jump back to other MLB issues that we discussed from that article. But $8 an hour, how do you feel about that?
It's just ridiculous that we can't pay people who are looking to jumpstart the career a decent salary. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And I don't want to hear any more bullshit about, oh, well, COVID, $8 an hour. That's the minimum salary. The
owners, the MLB have enough money in their pockets to hand out a decent salary to these people who are looking to jumpstart their careers in the MLB.
Right. And honestly, it would be a weird, unbalanced thing if that is actually true. Because as I said earlier, it's coming from someone who I believe is verified on Twitter, and someone responded to it. It'd be weird if you're paying stadium workers a little bit more than communication department interns. Shouldn't they be paid the same? It's just a weird unbalance. And once again, that's one of the flaws of the MLB. Just so money-stricken and tighter than a clam's ass. With that being said, it's just why MLB is one of the more unorganized franchises.
Probably the most unorganized sports.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people leave every year. That's why a lot of people leave. Oh, they can't agree on this? Okay, I'll just go to football. Okay, I'll just go to hockey. So it's sad. It's really sad. And a lot of people aren't thought of during this whole thing. They're not thought of because, well, you know, money and disagreements and more money. But with that being said, I kind of want to break down a little bit of each subject. With that being said, if you want to go into each subject from the article, the pool, all that stuff, and, you know, we could talk about it.
Obviously, we were re-mentioning the whole pool, the bonus pool, in which MLBPA dropped their offer from 105 to 100 million. They're obviously pretty divided on that. I personally think that I'm standing with the MLBPA on this. You know, we obviously mentioned top 20, top 30, so you're going to divide 105 million amongst 30 players. I think I gave out the what was I going to say? I think I gave out like the, what do you call it? The amount, which it really was, you know, per person or per player. It's about 3.5 million. And you're telling me that that each player should earn 333,000 amongst that pool. That's what
I thought
the
it was
MLB
lower
says.
when you did the math, because we did what they said. 10 million was their offer.
Yeah, 10 million.
10 million. You divide that amongst 30 players. Do the math, because I'm pretty sure it was 33,000, not 333,000.
10,000 divided by
10,000.
Why did I say 10,000? Well, I'm sorry. What was
10
the
million divided by 30?
10 million divisible by 30. 1, 2, 3. 10 million divisible by 30 is 333,000. 333.
So
333, 333.
333. So you were right. I thought it was much lower. But I mean, it's sad how the process is even being debated on. Oh, we're going to debate it on WAR stats and top 30. You should just put it on accolades. Hey, first-year player, and he gets an all-star nomination. Or he gets
of the year.
Rookie of the year. This, that, the other thing. That should be what it's based on, not fucking WAR. I mean, seriously, we're going to base it off an analytic. Anyone who agrees with this is a shill. I'm dead serious. I'm not a guy that's into analytics typically in baseball. Football, I'm honestly more analytical than I'm in baseball because that's rather the approach I've taught myself. But if you're going to base pay off of an analytic, I mean, it's just sad rather than regular accolades. Because if a first-year player doesn't hit the WAR mark, but maybe they have Rookie of the Year or another award or a Gold Glove, they don't get in with the top 30 players. It's just sad. But if I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, I'm going to go with the MLBPA and say, yeah, let's give them more of bonus money rather than $10 million, which is fucking chump change. Anyway, next subject matter. If you don't,
we obviously talked about the luxury tax or the competitive balance tax. League wants it at 214 million, while the players
bullshit competitive balance tax. What competitive balance tax? Bullshit. Shouldn't even call that because you have the small market teams. I've been on this rant 1,000 times already. You got the fucking small market teams that can't even go up to the level, and then you want obviously more teams to spend more. So it's not competitive balance. It should be uneven balance tax. UBT. If I'm not, mixing up things, unbalanced bargaining tax, is that what it's called?
It's competitive balance tax. That's what it's called.
Balance tax. So unbalanced tax. Some bullshit. Whatever. Make up your own three initial.
Make up your own acronym.
Make up your own acronym. Yes. Make up your own acronym. Bullshit. Unbalanced. Anyway, and I know what you said earlier, so I'm going to go on a little tangent here. It's probably not going to be that long because we've discussed this so many times. But just mean the fucking middle. I mean, it's basic math. 230. Okay, we lower ours by 15. You up yours by 15. What's the problem there? That's one of, in my opinion, Luca, that's one of the, I would say, not that the small teams don't matter, but that's one of the lesser issues in this whole debate. We're talking about pool money, which is obviously they're at a big distance, but with the CBT, as they call it, the bargaining tax, whatever the fuck they call it, balance tax. I don't care anymore. It just seems like it's almost a non-issue, or it's a lesser of an issue that we're going to spend how many minutes debating on, but you could literally meet in the middle at 15,
right?
Minus 15, plus 15, 230. So odds before we go on.
Next subject, the proposed minimum salary. The MLB only bumped its offer up by 15 million.
Proposed minimum salary. Please refresh my memory with that.
How each player should get a minimum salary of the MLBPA wants it at 775 million. I'm sorry, 775,000. Excuse me.
You made the same mistake that John Heyman made. Do you know that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, you probably shouldn't be proud of yourself knowing you're in the same class as John Heyman in terms of stupid mistakes. Anyway, I have a comment about him that I mentioned Pete in, by the way. I want to talk about that a little later.
So the MLB only bumped up their offer by 15,000.
So you said 600 to 615.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm not saying minor league players are unimportant, but it's a lesser issue. It's a lesser issue when we're talking about MLB. It's a lesser issue. You want to get to all the pool bullshit? Okay, get to the pool bullshit. Get this resolved. Get this resolved. Smack dab right in the freaking middle. And actually, no, not the middle. That was the other argument. Go ahead, go to 775K. What's the loss there? What's the loss? You could literally still, for lack of better words, jerk off your minor leaguers by going ahead and not bringing them up as much as possible and signing free agents. That's literally what you can do. So there are ways to beat around the bush, and you could say, oh, well, we agreed to the 775K bullshit because maybe a lot of these other teams are not going to bring up minor leaguers so they can, avoid costs in that aspect. Meanwhile, they'll probably have a guy that's being paid 30 to 35 million on the salary every year. So there's still ways to jerk around that because the MLB does not know how to treat minor leaguers.
Never did, never will. To continue, when I'm talking about now we're talking about revenue sharing here. The league's counter, which I think was about the Super Twos or the minimum salary, came a day after the union withdrew its request for changes to the 6-year free agency system and amended its plan to reduce the revenue transfer from large to small market teams, requesting $30 million less instead of the $100 million at first proposed. So it will be a $70 million revenue transfer between large and small market teams.
To be honest with you, it's like you're speaking fucking Japanese. I know jack shit of what you're saying. Listen, obviously we don't have to spend 20 hours on this subject topic, but to be honest, I'm not that keen, or I should say that familiar with revenue sharing.
I'm assuming the larger market teams obviously would get the bigger revenue, while the smaller teams would get the smaller revenue. So the division between the two, should I say, I don't know, different markets would be 70 million. I'm just gonna, you know what? At this point, we might as well say the MLBPA is right, the MLB is wrong. Fucking move on. Because that's where most of the arguments are in terms of this. That's what most people agree with, but the owners are a bunch of stuck-up assholes. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on. And let me see if the MLB obviously told the MLBPA that free agency revenue sharing and changes to arbitration. The union wants it to start for all players after 2 years than 3. Our non-starters proposing December 1st, blah, 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 blah. That's pretty much the main issues, if I have to be honest with you, Alex.
Main issues, that's end off this topic. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to keep your balls? Well, not ladies, but if you want to buy it.
You sound horrible now, Alex.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get canceled. Anyway, ladies, for your man friends,
boyfriends,
whatever,
husbands,
whatever. Okay. Specifically men, because that's what Manscaped is for anyway. But with that being said, if you want to keep your balls in one state and fully functional, unlike Rob Manfred, he doesn't know how to, I would say, what's the right word here? What's the right word?
Shave his balls?
Well, I don't want to get too specific now. He doesn't know how to maintain his balls. He can't decide if they're going to be juiced. He can't decide if they're going to be dead. But with that being said, you overall want to make them look nice. That's why we are brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, the Performance Package, drawing over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code Twinbill20 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls. So unless you had a medical procedure, that should be correct. Over 8 million sets, 8 million
I
balls.
like
4
you. I
million
like
sets
how
of
you
balls.
had to do the math there, Alex.
Listen. I'm just a genius. So go to manscaped.com and get a 20% off and free shipping with the code Twinbill20. That's Twinbill20. TWINBILL20 at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. How do you think I did? You think I
That seemed
kinda
pretty lengthy.
Huh?
That seemed pretty lengthy.
Maybe one day I'll be on the Price is Right. I think that's it, right? The Price is either Price is Right or one of them shows where they show the prizes and you'll have the PA announcer kind of announce those prizes. I think it's not the Price is Right, but it's Vanna White.
What do you Wheel of Fortune? Maybe not
That
Wheel of
might be it.
Fortune.
I'm not good with my game shows. I think I need a little
Yeah,
pop
you need to do a
culture
little bit
game
better than
show.
that.
You know what? I'm just not gonna go there. Next topic, if you want to introduce it.
So the next subject report came out today per Andy Martino, I believe it was. The Yankees unwilling to trade top shortstop prospects for Matt Olson. In particular, Anthony Volpe and Oswald Peraza. Alex, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this really, I would say surprised me, but didn't surprise me because there's a lot of trade candidates out there across the MLB. And I've discussed many times that Brian Cashman is a homer and he likes to hold on to his prospects, prospect hugging. Obviously, that's what a lot of fans want to do. That's personally not me. And I would have at least thought that he had some common sense to go out there and say, hey, listen, Matt Olson, he's going to be that one guy that we're actually going to give him some prospects for, especially at the shortstop position. They're going through a rebuild right now. Let's improve our team. Let's go get Matt Olson. Now, they kind of, for lack of better words, fuck themselves. They fucked themselves right before the work stoppage because they barely got anything done other than arbitration deals and agreements and all that other crap. So there's that. And they signed one or two minor leaguers over this period of time. So there's that. But with that being said, in terms of the Olson topic, I have a signed ball from Anthony Volpe and a couple other Yankees guys, especially within the Hudson Valley team. I think Randy Vasquez, pitching prospect, is one of those guys. A couple other guys as well. Francisco Alvarez of the Brooklyn Cyclones, one of the top prospects, is right now, I'm not joking when I say this, being regarded as a future Mike Piazza if his hitting can get better. And I'm not a big Mets guy. Obviously, I'm a Yankees fan. But going back to the point, why are you so stranglehold when you have multiple prospects at the position and you're not winning in 2027? You're not aiming to win in 2026. We're not waiting for Tom Brady to be on the Hall of Fame ballot to win. I mean, seriously. But with that being said, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't understand what the prospect hugging is for. And if they keep doing this and they don't bring these guys up and keep signing free agents and don't have a specific route, what's going to happen is it's going to be Chance Adams, it's going to be Justice Sheffield, it's going to be all those other guys. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same with Brian Cashman and who he wants to keep and all these prospects. And you mentioned it, it's the prospect hugging that's killing the Yankees from getting these big guys. I mean, we've mentioned, I think, Garrett Cole. Back in the day, it was like 2018. The Yankees wouldn't trade Chance Adams. Chance Adams became a bust. And it just continues with this whole nonsense.
Didn't they want to trade for Ray and he wasn't willing to give up?
Clint Frazier, I think, was the player who would not be traded that Cashman didn't want to trade or something like that.
That worked out great, didn't it?
Something obviously like that. But it's just ridiculous that the Yankees are not sticking to their win now mentality. I understand you want to develop your own, all fine and well. You have plenty of prospects in the shortstop position, but if I was the general manager, I would trade both of them. This is a win now team. This is a team that should be competing for the World Series, and you're not by prospect hugging, you're still delaying yourself. Because if the Yankees don't make upgrades, Alex, they're going to be fourth place in their own division. The Red Sox are better. The Blue Jays are better. The Tampa Bay Rays are better.
Right. And it's not like, once again, I've brought up this point several times. It's not like you have a manager who gets the most out of his talent. Aaron Boone's not that guy. We all know he's not that guy. Joe Girardi was that guy. There's a couple other guys across the league. The guy from the Braves, Brian Snitker, was that guy this past year when they won the World Series.
Alex, you could argue that the Red Sox had a worse roster than we did, but Alex Cora got more than out of that roster than Aaron Boone did out of the Yankee roster.
Right. They went further, and I know it was just a round, but they went further. And obviously there's that argument. But the Yankees don't have a manager that's going to get the most out of their ball club. And we'll see what happens this year with the hiring of Luis Rojas, Dylan Lawson, some of these other guys. I think they're still probably looking for coaches, but they just don't have a manager and a system built for, okay, let's develop these prospects, still get the most out of the players. It's just not the situation right now for the Yankees, and that's the unfortunate reality we have to live with. And once again, when you have money, why make it your disadvantage? Sign Correa, sign whoever you want, because let's be honest, Luca, after this work stoppage is over, you're not going right into spring training. You have to finish the offseason, do what you got to do, and there's going to be a lot of trades. It's going to be a lot of free agent signings for whoever's left on the market. And the Yankees better be a part of that.
The market's still robust, Alex. The market is still robust.
Exactly.
And remember, Alex, Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman said it was the players, it wasn't the manager.
Well, they kind of contradicted themselves because they fired Phil Nevin and Marcus Thames. So that's my opinion on that one.
So, yeah, I pretty much agree with you. You want to move on to this Hall of Fame ballot?
Yeah, so for our last topic on today's show, and we could talk about the Shohei Ohtani thing for a minute or two. I mean, it's not going to be much. It's like 30 seconds, but that'll be the end. We're going to discuss future Hall of Fame ballots, who's going to be on them. We'll talk about the players just a little bit. Not going to take too much of your time. So if you want to start with next year, whatever you want to say. Actually, let me real quickly stop you because I was agreeing with Pete, and I mentioned him purposely. So,
is this the John Heyman thing?
This is a John Heyman thing. And I've had a lot of mentions today. Thank you to Brian Flores and all this Giant stuff. So, John Heyman tweets that look past the brilliant writing for the impeccable logic. After reading this, I feel guilty for voting for Barry Bonds and proud I didn't vote for other known steroid cheats. Doug Glanville. Bonds shouldn't be a Hall of Famer, and that's okay. For anyone who doesn't know, Doug Glanville was a former MLB player. If I'm not mistaken, he was on the same team as Sammy Sosa. 1996 to 97 with the Cubs, 98 to 02 with the Phillies, 2003 with the Texas Rangers, Chicago Cubs 2003. So he was a teammate of A-Rod's for a year, if he even fucking stayed up in the major leagues. I have no idea about this guy. And then 2004 with the Phillies, once again, if I didn't mention 2003 with the Chicago Cubs. So, we'll see what happens there or whatever the case is. I'm not too focused on this guy. And Pete responded. He said, if Doug Glanville took steroids, he wouldn't be able to hold the jock straps of Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Gary Sheffield, Mac. I think he means Mark McGwire. If he doesn't, then I apologize.
Yeah, that's Mark McGwire.
And then I put John Heyman's I feel guilty in those words and those letters, obviously, the mixed up letters, the caps and the lowercase. But that's just pathetic. I mean, listen.
He's such a lowlife.
He's an MLB Network shill. And he probably voted for David Ortiz. Let's be honest. He probably voted. Oh, I'm guilty. Yeah. You know what, dude?
Shut up.
Shut up already. You're guilty. You're taking a job that's keeping other people out of the spotlight. Basically, what I'm trying to say is there's more talented people out there than you, John. And that's what you should
No way
Really?
this man, in 2019, this man voted Lance Berkman for the Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that till now. Why did you have to put that into my brain?
He also voted Scott Rowland in that year and Fred McGriff. I think McGriff is a Hall of Famer, not sure, but still funny
Rowland
stuff.
Eventually, my opinion, but that's obviously neither here nor there. So if you want to get to, we'll do 23, 24.
I think 23 and 24 sound good.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to take too much time, and we could save this for other episodes as well. So if you want to go ahead.
All right, so first candidate is Carlos Beltran. Now
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
I think he's pretty close to one, if I have to be honest. I mean, I look at it some as like, I look at Hall of Famers like players maybe who dominated their era. Who, yeah, he has the accolades in my opinion. So he's pretty
you
close.
Can't say, oh well, he cheated. Well, no, obviously Rob Manfred's gonna be a Hall of Famer. David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So let's not do that. Let's not do that. He's a nice guy. He's gonna get in because he's a nice guy.
Next candidate, Matt Cain from the San Francisco Giants.
No.
Threw a perfect game in 2012. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. No. Andre Ethier.
No.
John Lackey.
No.
Mike Napoli, former Angel, Ranger, and Red Sox and Indian.
No.
Johnny Peralta.
No.
K-Rod.
I want to say no.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a Hall of Famer to me. Houston Street.
No.
Jared Weaver.
He might make a case, K-Rod. I mean, he's got a couple of accolades, but I don't know where he stands on the saves list.
He's fourth best all time, I believe, actually. He set the single season saves record in 2008 was 62.
In his prime, he was pretty good. I remember just knowing about him when I was a casual baseball fan. So maybe. I'm not saying totally because, you know, it's not like he was Mariano Rivera. I mean, he wanted to be. But Jared Weaver, no.
I say right now he's the best of a lesser class, he and Beltran. But to continue, Jason Worth.
No.
That will conclude the 2023 class, 2024.
Let me say this. Obviously, I'm going to really spoil a little bit for the NYY news fam out there. A lot of freaking bad ones. A lot of people that don't deserve a minute on the ballot. Let me just say that. They should. When is Jacoby Ellsbury eligible?
Either next year or the year after. I would have to.
They should veto his years of eligibility, give it back to Barry Bonds, Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, all those other guys.
So to continue, 2024, Adrian Beltre.
I honestly would say yes.
He's close. Bartolo Colon.
No. He's a meme,
sure?
And people would vote him in for the memes and shit, but then again, they wouldn't recognize that. I'm pretty sure he did steroids.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that because of that, but he just was not dominant. Only for memes. You want to put him in the meme Hall of Fame? Go ahead. No.
I thought he was dominant, but he wasn't like top tier. Like you never really considered him one of the best in
He's
the
still
league.
Pitching, by the way.
Yeah, isn't like Mexico?
Acereros de Monclova.
Yeah, Mexico.
48 years old.
Jose Bautista.
If he struggles against 13-year-old pitchers in wiffle ball, he should not be in the Hall of Fame. Either way, he should not be in the Hall of Fame.
To continue, Adrian Gonzalez.
No.
Matt Holliday, former Yankee.
No.
Jim Johnson, former Oriole.
No.
Victor Martinez, former Red Sox, Indian, and Tiger.
I feel like he's better of a lesser class.
What I'm going to say is he's the more of a lesser class.
Exactly.
Joe Mauer.
I feel like he's more of a lesser class. I've always liked Joe Mauer. I don't know why, but I've always liked.
Yeah, he was usually a fan favorite.
So if I had to pick just that class, and I actually had to vote for 10 people, Joe Mauer would be one of them. But
he was named the 2009 AL MVP and finished top 10 of AL MVP voting in 3 other seasons. So And he's won the batting title 3 times. Only catcher
So-
to win 3 batting titles.
Make the case for him, I guess.
Brandon Phillips.
No.
Jose Reyes.
No.
James Shields.
No.
Chase Utley.
Better of a lesser class.
David Wright.
Better of a lesser class.
Yeah, I think he would be close enough.
Yeah.
Brad Ziegler.
No.
That's pretty much that. You want to continue 2025 or you want to cap it there?
25, and we'll cap it, and we'll talk about Ohtani for a second, then we'll move off.
25, Melky Cabrera.
No.
David Freese.
No.
Carlos Gomez.
No.
Carlos Gonzalez.
No.
Curtis Granderson.
No.
Adam Jones.
No.
Ian Kinsler.
No.
Francisco Liriano.
No.
Brian McCann.
No.
Kendrys Morales.
Fuck no.
Dustin Pedroia.
He actually might make a case.
I don't think so.
It's
His
better
prime
of a
in,
lesser class, my opinion, but
his
that's just
prime
like
in-
not even
to
looking
me,
at accolades.
I'm a differ from you. His prime didn't last long enough. He got too injured towards the end of his career. If he played long enough and he was, healthy for more of it.
Once
sure.
again, I'm basing it off casualism without even looking at accolades.
Martin Prado,
No.
Hanley Ramirez,
No.
Mark Reynolds,
No.
Fernando Rodney,
No.
CeCe.
Bias? Sure. Yes.
I think he should be considered. Ichiro, absolute
Yes. Yes.
If he does not get in the Hall of Fame, there's something wrong.
There's been something wrong, but yeah.
Troy Tulowitzki,
No.
Ben Zobrist,
No.
and that's pretty much that for 2025.
Thank God. My brain cells are already on life
Again,
support.
there's not that much of a great class. Like you have to sift through.
Where have we gone as a baseball culture? Where have we gone? Where we were talking about 10 years ago, inducting this guy and that guy. We weren't making, we were just stuck on decisions. Oh, do I put this guy in the Hall of Fame or do I put this guy? Then you just look at the last couple of classes. What a bunch of chumps. So, overall, just quick thoughts. What are your thoughts overall on Shohei Ohtani being the next cover of MLB The Show?
I guess I wasn't surprised. I mean, I think he was the MVP, if I'm not mistaken. And some people are like, well, he's grown the game. Yeah, I don't think so. He might be growing the game of baseball, but not Major League Baseball.
I mean, respectfully, he can't carry his own team because his team still sucks. That's not totally against him.
Yeah, it's not
But
really his fault.
I'm not surprised.
You could say the same for Mike Trout.
I'm not totally surprised. Unless they made Bartolo Colon the cover athlete, I pretty much don't give a shit about cover athletes. I mean, NFL, they made it Brady and Mahomes. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I don't know what they're going to make it in the summer. We'll see what happens. They would never put Rodgers on one, though. Who would it be? Be a very interesting conversation to have somewhere else, at some other time. But and then Derek Jeter's on the deluxe version. I'm not paying $20 extra just to get the deluxe version, just to look at Derek Jeter every time I want to play PlayStation. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. So let's wrap it up here. Give your final thoughts, stuff overall.
Very troubling news for the MLB, obviously, when it comes to MLB and MLBPA talks. Spring training is probably going to be delayed, which is unfortunate. We probably won't even have spring training after right after the Super Bowl, because I did mention pitchers and catchers reporting the day after the Super Bowl. Just a bad state for MLB. Once we thought last week, I think we had some optimism, but that seems to be cleared away. And the Yankees, no surprise when it comes to prospect hugging, and we just keep sifting through the Hall of Fame, just trying to make ourselves look better.
Yeah. time for NASCAR and Knicks. That's what it's looking like until the MLB gets the head out of their ass. And it's not going to happen
And
until it
USFL.
starts affecting games. USFL, if we get that far, that's in April. Unfortunately, they're only having it in Birmingham, not in New Jersey, not in Houston, just in Birmingham, which is a damn shame because MetLife Stadium is probably full of cobwebs during the off season, other than concerts. But who wants to have a concert at an outdoor arena in 20-degree weather? I don't think anyone does. But also, that's April. Anyway, if you guys haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications, when NYY News Fam goes live, when they've released a video.
New
also,
podcast.
For community notes, keep that on tab as well. Buy some merchandise. That's also another thing. We mentioned the Manscaped. Buy some merchandise, please. Help support us. Help support some of the other podcasts on here. We have some great content creators. If this has gone over an hour, I don't know how many minutes has gone, but check out the Boys in the Big Apple podcast on the Big Blue in the Bronx YouTube channel. 8-10 p.m. it starts. We'll be talking a lot of
Wednesday.
NFL. Please come by, ask questions, pop in the chat. We appreciate you guys. With that being said, we are out, and we will see you next time.